In Python, an if statement allows you to run specific code only when a condition is met. Think of it as a decision-making tool. You ask a question, and if the answer is true, the program executes a block of code. It either skips that block or moves on to a different block of code. Here's the basic structure of an if statement. Python first checks the condition. If the condition is true, the code inside the if block runs. If it's false, Python moves to the else block and runs that code instead. Let's bring this concept into the real world. We'll use if statements to decide whether a car needs a major service based on its mileage. If the mileage is greater than or equal to 50,000, the car needs a service. Otherwise, it's still within the normal mileage range. Here's how we can write that code. We'll leave a comment so that we know which section of the code that we talked about if statements. We are going to carry over the value of car mileage from step number 6, and then we'll create the condition to evaluate the response that the user provides. We use a greater than symbol to say if it's greater than, and then an equal symbol, so greater than or equal to, and then we'll provide it the number. Then use a colon. Then when I press enter, you'll notice that now I have 4 spaces I've indented. That's how Python knows that you're going to go inside to execute this part of the code. Here we'll just do a simple print statement. Then I'm going to go back so I can give it an else. So to review, in the code, we ask the user to input the car's mileage. Since input returns a string, we use the function int to convert the mileage to an integer. Then we check if the mileage is 50,000 miles or more using the condition car mileage is greater than or equal to 5,000. If that's true, the program prints that the car needs a service. Otherwise, it prints that the car is still in the normal mileage range. Let's run the program and see what happens. We enter a mileage under 50,000. Let's do 45,000. We get returned the car is still within the normal mileage range. Let's kill that program. Run it again. And we will provide it a mileage that is above 50,000. And we get returned the car needs a major service. So far, we've only checked 2 conditions. Either the car needs a service or it doesn't. But what if we want to check for more conditions? For example, maybe the car is overdue for service if it has been driven more than 60,000 miles. We can add more conditions in our program using elif, else if. We're going to modify our program. We will change this to 60,000 miles. At 60,000 miles, the car is overdue for service. So we want to indicate here. Then we can do an else if, elif. We'll provide it another condition. Here we'll say 50,000 miles. And we will print out the car needs major service. We'll keep our else statement the same. So now we're checking 3 conditions. First, If the mileage is over 60,000 miles, the car is overdue for a service. If that condition isn't true, Python checks the next condition, whether the mileage is between 50,000 and 60,000. If that's true, the program prints that the car needs a major service. And if neither of those conditions is true, the program prints that the car is still in its normal mileage range. Let's test this out by entering some different mileage values. If I enter 65,000, the program prints the car is overdue for service. This is because 65,000 is greater than 60,000. If I enter 55,000, the program prints out the car needs major service because 55,000 is between 50,000 and 60,000. Just to make sure we check all conditions, if I put in 35,000, the program prints out the car is still within the normal mileage range. As you can see, by adding an else-if condition, we can handle more complex decision-making in our program. This is really useful when you have multiple scenarios you need to check. So to recap on the if statement. The if statement checks whether a condition is true, and if it is, the code inside the if block runs. The else statement runs if the condition is false. The else-if statement allows you to add more conditions to check if previous conditions aren't true. This is how you can build logic into a Python program.